In this video, we'll use Notion's brand new automation feature, which is this lightning bolt over here in the top right-hand corner of your database, along with the not so new, but no less important relations properties, which are these right here. We'll use both of these to automatically keep databases linked when adding a new item to one of those databases. So this will basically update or fill in the relation property without you having to touch it, based on what's been populated in other properties. The previous way to automatically fill in relation properties was to create filtered views and then only add new data entries to those filtered views. So that would look something like this. If you filter by, let's say, monthly balances, and then set that to be September, then when you add something new, you can see it's automatically populated it. But if you're adding multiple databases, you have to add multiple filters for the different relation properties, and also sometimes you just want to add something from a different view and not have to keep changing the filter based on that. So the databases we're using in this example comprise my financial tracker. So it's set up with 4 different databases. I have one for expenses, which is this one here. And then I have another one for income, which is this one here. And finally, I have monthly and annual balances. So the idea is every time I enter something on an input database, which would be the income and expenses databases, I add it to the relevant database, and using relations, I want it to automatically populate in the monthly and annual balances databases. The problem, though, is making sure that the relation properties are updated for each new entries. As I mentioned, I could do this with a filter, but then I'd have to make sure the filter is changed each month, and for each financial year to reflect the period that the entry occurred in. This can be annoying, especially as you already enter information on the item's date when I fill out the month and year tags over here. So ideally, as soon as I fill these out, it would automatically connect to the correct database and the correct entry within that database. So what we can do is create an automation that looks at what's being entered, specifically the month, and we can automatically populate the 2 relation properties based off of that. So if we click up here, we can create a new automation. I'm going to call it September 23. And the first thing I want to do is tell it to look at the month property and select September. Now, one thing to note is that automations currently don't do something and something changes. So I can't tell it to look at the month it's being added and the year being added, and therefore know to set it to September 2023. Let me just give you an example of that. So if I go to year here and select this option, what this is effectively telling the automation to do is when any of these occur, i.e. the month is set to September or the year is edited, enact the changes that we're going to add here, which isn't quite right, because then what it will do is, irrespective of what month we set it to, whenever the year is edited, it will just add it in and it will look at the last automation you created. So basically, no matter what month you put in, the only month it will ever change it to is the last automation you created, which isn't very helpful, and hopefully that changes in the future. But for now, what we're going to do is just reference the month, and basically every year we'll have to change all the automations just to reflect the year that we're currently in. So back to the automation we're creating, we want it to change once we edit the month. And what we want to change is the to relation property. So we want to set it to September 23 to match the month. And then we also want to change this property here to match the fiscal year that it's in. Now that we've done that, let's add an entry to the expenses database and see if the two relation properties are filled in. So as you can see here, it populated the monthly balance and the fiscal year just by adding this month in here in the tag. So to keep things a bit neater, what you could do is just hide both of these properties, safe in the knowledge that whenever you update these tags, the correct addition will be made to the databases over here. So let me create an automation for each month of the rest of this year, and then we can go through and confirm that it works by adding a few more test data entries. Okay, so I've created all the automations. Let's create a couple of examples. So I'll do this one in November. I'll do this one in December. And you can see that November's been populated and now December's been populated. So hopefully that video was helpful. If it was, like and subscribe. Thanks very much for listening.